I would like to talk about one of the most important economic concepts that affects all of us in our daily life, which is inflation. Inflation refers to the rate of change in the overall price levels of goods and services over time. To measure this, economists use a fixed basket of consumer items that reflects the average spending pattern of nation households. This basket includes basic needs such as food, transportation, housing, utilities, and other essential items. Even though this measure of inflation may not fully represent the day-to-day price changes experienced by every individual, because our spending habits may differ, it is still a very useful indicator. Through inflation, we are able to understand how the overall cost of living changes and how prices in the broader economy move over time. Inflation has a significant impact on many aspects of our life. It influences our purchasing power, our cost of living, the way we manage our finance, and even the performance of the national economy. For example, when prices rise but our income remains the same, the amount of goods and services we can afford become less. This shows how closely inflation is linked to our financial well-being. Therefore, understanding the concept of inflation is not only important for economists, but also for every member of society. By being aware of inflation and its effects, we can better prepare ourselves for changes in the economy and make more informed financial decisions.
Now, let's take a look at the inflation trend in Malaysia over the past decade. From 2014 to 2017, Malaysia experienced moderate inflation, with prices rising steadily and peaking at nearly 4%, which is 3.9% in 2017. This was mainly due to higher fuel prices, rising living costs, and strong consumer demand. However, between 2018 and 2019, inflation slowed down from 0.9% to 0.7% significantly as government measures such as price controls and tax changes helped ease cost pressures, while economic growth became more moderate. In 2020, Malaysia experienced deflation of 1.1%, meaning that overall prices actually fell. This was largely caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, which reduced consumer spending, disrupted businesses, and weakened demand across many sectors. As the economy began to recover, inflation rose from 2.5% in 2021 to 3.4% in 2022, driven by global supply chain disruptions, higher food prices, and rising energy costs due to international events. More recently, in 2023 and 2024, inflation has moderated and returned to a lower, more stable range of around 2% or less. This indicates that price pressures have eased and that Malaysia's economy is moving toward greater stability. Overall, Malaysia's inflation trend shows how global events and domestic policies strongly influence the cost of living and economic conditions.
Inflation refers to a general increase in prices over time which reduces the purchasing power of money. In Malaysia, inflation affects daily life by increasing the cost of living. This video explains the main causes of inflation in Malaysia. One major cause of inflation in Malaysia is cost-push inflation. When global commodity prices such as crude oil increase, production and transportation costs also rise. As a result, businesses increase the prices of goods and services to cover these higher costs. Other than that, changes in fuel subsidies also contribute to inflation in Malaysia. When fuel subsidies are reduced, fuel prices increase. This leads to higher transportation and operating costs, which then push prices up across many sectors of the economy. Besides that, indirect taxes such as the sales and service tax or SST can also cause inflation. When businesses are charged higher taxes, they often pass the cost to consumers by increasing service and product prices. And the last one is global supply chain pressures also affect inflation in Malaysia. Since Malaysia imports many goods, Higher import costs due to global disruption can increase domestic prices and affect the consumer price index. In conclusion, inflation in Malaysia is not caused by a single factor. It is the result of a combination of cost push pressures, government policies, taxes, and global supply influences.
One of the most immediate impacts is the rising cost of living. As prices increase, daily essentials such as groceries, electricity, transport and fuel become more expensive. Families are forced to adjust their budget, often cutting back on non-essential spending. Many households today find themselves comparing prices more carefully, choosing cheaper brands or reducing discretionary spending just to manage monthly expenses. This means that every ringgit buys less than before, reducing overall purchasing power. Businesses also face significant challenges. When the cost of raw materials, transportation, and wages increase, companies are forced to make difficult decisions. Some businesses raise their prices, while others absorb the cost and see lower profits. Small businesses, in particular, struggle with higher inventory expenses and supply chain disruptions. Delivery costs also rise due to higher fuel prices, affecting everything from restaurants to online shopping. This change reaction slows businesses' growth and reduces economic confidence. On a national level, inflation affects economic stability. When prices rise too quickly, consumers spend less, businesses invest less, and economic growth slows. Uncertainty make investors more cautious, while households reduce discretionary spending. If inflation is not controlled, it can weaken purchasing power, reduce competitiveness, and increase pressure on government policies such as subsidies and interest rate. Inflation also affects different sectors unevenly. Some prices rise faster than others. For example, food and beverages often experience sharper increases compared to clothing or electronics. This creates mixed price changes across sectors, where Malaysians feel the impact more strongly in daily necessities rather than luxury goods. This uneven pattern can make it harder for families to plan their spending. When inflation rises faster than income, the ability to save decreases. People may delay long-term financial goals such as higher education, home purchases, or emergency funds. Savings lose value over time because the same amount of money cannot buy the same goods in the future. This creates financial pressure, especially for young adults and low-income households. In summary, inflation impacts Malaysians in many ways, from daily expenses to business operations to the performance of the entire economy. Understanding these effects help us prepare better and make informed financial decisions.
Overall, Malaysia inflation rate is currently moderate and relatively stable. Recent data show that inflation is around 1 to 1.5% in 2025, which indicates that price increases are generally under control. However, inflation is still influenced by several factors, including cost pressures such as higher production and transportation costs, as well as policy change introduced by the government. As a final thought, although inflation in Malaysia is not at critical level, it continues to affect the cost of living for households. This is why sound economic policies, along with sustainable wage growth, are essential to ensure that people's purchasing power is protected. In conclusion, inflation is not just an economic statistic. It directly affects our daily life, from the price we pay for food, transportation and service. Therefore, understanding inflation helps us better appreciate its impact on both the economy and society as a whole.